Hi everyone, this is your Module 2 video. We're talking about communication now. So I have just a couple of brief research things that I want to cover with you, and then I will give you your discussion board prompt. Again, these videos are sort of meant to be your opportunity to get to know me a little bit. So I'm going to start out, at least the start of the semester, by picking research that I find interesting. And as the semester goes on, hopefully I'll be able to find some things that are interesting to a wider variety of you. But right now we're going to talk about some stuff that I find cool or interesting, and I'll reveal some things about myself through these PowerPoints probably. But again, this is a good opportunity for us to get to know each other, even though it's a virtual format and you can't come meet me in my office hours and all that stuff. So again, I'm going to share my screen with you and show you this quick PowerPoint. So this is an example of communication between species. I just wanted to have a cute opening slide. But this is my old dog, Chubbs, meeting a rabbit. And so he tried desperately to get this rabbit to become his friend, and she did not want to. So he then decided to just completely ignore her, as you can see she's doing to him. And eventually they were able to come nose to nose and even interact a little bit. So here we go, some communication between two species trying to become friends. That's Chubbs and Trixie, my friend's rabbit. So I thought I would start by talking about one of the studies that was introduced in your COG books. And I wanted to share this study in particular, just because I think it illustrates something that is important for us all to remember, is that sometimes you think you found the answer to the question, but if you ask one more question, you go a little bit farther, you find that the answer to the question isn't what it appeared to be. And so in this research, they were looking at female preference for the length of the sword on the males, right? And if you look at basically all of these graphs except for one, you would think that having a larger sword was the sexual signal that these females were queuing into for their mate choice, right? They very much chose the male with the full sword versus the partial sword, and versus no sword. They had a slight preference for partial sword over no sword, and they were almost equal for fish that had no sword and then just a sword on its own, right? So there's some interesting things happening. But in the very last graph of this paper, you see that they actually, when you replace the sword with just a larger male, the females preferred the larger male over the male with the intact sword. So it wasn't so much that they were signaling in on the sword, it was that they were signaling in on the size of the male. And had the scientists not gone that one step farther and asked that last question, we might be studying how females prefer males with longer swords, right? And we would have no idea that that wasn't exactly what was happening. And so like taking things a step farther and not assuming that your first hypothesis was correct is always a good practice in science. It's good to think about other possibilities of what it could be. And as the semester goes on, I hope that you will see examples of this throughout the assignments and readings, and that you will start to think that way yourself when you're looking at behaviors that you're analyzing yourself, or just when you're noticing things that your pets do, or an animal that you might be observing outside or at a zoo or somewhere else when we're allowed to go places. This was, I thought, a good introduction to that. And then I wanted to add this is not a study that I did, but this is a study that when I was defending my PhD, they have a contest at the Animal Behavior Society where students can present their completed PhDs for a contest, basically, and you get a prize. And it's a prestigious contest, and 8 of us got selected to compete for this. And this person actually finished 3rd, but her talk was my very favorite. Her last name is Caruso Peck, and she studied zebra finches. And the interesting thing about the zebra finches are one of the most commonly studied species of birds, because they basically they're Australian in descent, But they are very, very friendly. You can almost keep them as pets, right? And in fact, a lot of people do keep them as pets. So they're friendly. They don't really like to be held or anything, but they don't do poorly in cages. They'll interact with you. They're cute. They make cute noises, whatever. So zebra finches have long been sort of used as the model of song learning because it was discovered quite a while back that males learn their songs from their fathers, right? So a male growing up with his family group will learn from the dominant males of the group, how to sing songs that then attract mates later in life. So father kind of teaching son, here's how you attract a lady and perpetuate the gene pool, keep our biological line going. So this was the assumed model for decades. Everyone has heard this experiment where these males were isolated during this sort of critical learning period a few weeks after fledgling. And there's this critical period where if they don't interact with the males, they are socially isolated from the males that sing, that they produce songs that were just didn't sound like zebra finch songs at all. They did learn to sing, but they produced these like crazy sounds and it didn't make sense. So everybody went on to assume that this was the way it is, right? They learned from their fathers, and socially isolating from their fathers was what destroyed their song. Crusoe Peck had a new idea. So she thought that maybe it was a different type of learning. And so what she studied was if males were placed with females, would they learn the proper song? And what she found was that females actually give a cue to males when they sing the correct song. So females when they hear the thing they want to hear, will make that little puff at the male. So while the males are sort of experimentally singing, if she played videos of basically females puffing when the male sang the correct song, versus she then had males that were isolated. They weren't isolated. She had canaries in the cage with them, so they weren't alone. It wasn't a cruel experiment or anything. But if she basically just showed the video of the puffing just at random, how was that going to make the songs different? And you can see this is up here. This is basically the tutor male, right? So this is the male's song. That's who the male is. And this is the son who was basically given the correct female responses. And this was the one that was not. And you can see, even with the tutor present, even with hearing the male song, if it did not receive that female feedback, again, it turned into this completely wonky, crazy song. So again, for decades, we've assumed this model of communication. We assume that this was the way that males were learning their song, that they were getting feedback from their fathers. And then a graduate student, this was her graduate work, said, what if that's not true? And it wasn't. And she found this completely cool new discovery in this new research just by watching these zebra finches communicate with one another. So I thought that was really cool. I thought that was something cool to share. Just again, not as much the communication unit I thought was very thorough, very interesting, something good for you to listen to. But I wanted to just kind of point out, like thinking that extra step, learning a little bit more. Again, if you do want to go into some type of PhD work or you want to study this stuff in the future, something good to always think about, always challenge your beliefs just a little bit because you might find out that what you thought you knew, you did know, but you might find a whole new line of research and something new. And that's what Crusoe Peck discovered. So you probably also noticed if you've gone through your cog books, maybe you haven't yet read your cog books, but if you haven't yet, you will notice when you get there that there's a discussion board prompt already in the cog books, and it has a due date of July, which obviously is not going to be fitting for this course. So I have decided that I'm going to go ahead and give you a different prompt anyway. So you're still going to get those 2 points. You're just going to get it with this different prompt that I'm going to give you now. And Again, it's going to be due the Friday that your module 2 is cog books are due. It's due that same time. And this one will be a little bit shorter than the last one. I know the last one was a little bit long, so I've made this one a little bit shorter. All I want you to do is find a cool video of animals communicating. And I want you to, when you post the video, I want you to caption it with a couple of sentences saying why you chose it or what you like about it. And I will take this opportunity to learn a little bit more about you. So please try to pick an animal that is a favorite animal or an animal that you would like to study or closely related to a favorite animal or one that you would like to study. So please choose this with a specific purpose in mind so that as I'm going through and looking at them, I can see what kinds of things interest you and I can tailor future articles, videos, and things like that to your interests. In the interest of that, I'm going to show you my video and then I'm going to set you free for the week. So I'm going to share my screen again, but this time I'm going to share with you this Zoom page. Here we go. I'm going to share this video with you of a bird of paradise trying to communicate with a lady. I love this video because every time I watch it, I think to myself, hey ladies, what if that was your date? like here comes a serial killer. Anyway, you can't tell what will be attractive or not, right? So there's my creepy bird of paradise video for you. That's my animal communication video. And I hope that you will have fun finding and sharing yours this week in the discussion board under the correct topic, which I will post for you this week. Again, great talking to you. And if you have any questions, please see me or the TAs in our office hours or communicate with us via email or starting your own discussion board post. All right, thanks a lot.